Hi, how are you? My name is Houston and welcome back to another video. I'm chilling right now because I have a cat on my lap. Look at her ear right there. See that? Hikari refuses to just let me record this intro, so here I am. I gotta comfort her. She keeps wanting to lay on top of my PC, and I have 3 fans that come up from the top or ventilate from the top, and when she's on there, it's just not really that great for my PC. I'm pretty sure it's got to be running like 15 degrees hotter than it should be, and I can feel it in this office too. She's pretty chill though. Like when I take her off of it, she definitely wants to jump back up unless I hold her or I just let her sit on my lap. But it's a little bit difficult to game sometimes when she's sitting on my lap. I do prefer when she just sits on my desk right in front of me, especially if I'm using a controller, because then I could just push my keyboard and my mouse out of the way and she can just hang out. You can see she's super chill, very floppy. As usual, we will be gaming. Probably gonna hop on something new today though, a game that I put a couple hours into, but I think it would be fun to sort of run around a little bit in for a video. So let's get into it. So here we are on the first Berserker, Kazan, and this game was one of the ones that I've been looking forward to quite a bit leading up to its release, and the couple hours that I have in it so far, it has not disappointed. You know, there are a lot of games out there that have always tried to replicate the whole Sekiro parry style, or just like that action RPG style that so many people love from Software. One thing that this game seems to do really well is its ability to get that feeling of a good parry mechanic. A lot of companies have chased that feeling that Sekiro brings with the weight of the parry and how it creates this rhythm in the game when you're playing it. I know that for me, establishing that rhythm and being able to get into it and feel like you're actually part of the battle was a really important part for me when playing Sekiro. And this game isn't just bound by one weapon like Sekiro is either. I mean, you have the choice between dual wielding a greatsword or a spear. I'm just opting for the spear right now because for me, that's wow, I can't even parry. For me, that's what felt the most comfortable against the last boss that I fought, because this game seems pretty hard actually. And I know that's kind of the whole point of games like this. You know, you want them to be difficult. But I guess I just didn't expect it to be as difficult as it is, or provide as many skill checks as I've run into after only 3 hours. The rhythm aspect of this game is really important because there's a skill tree or multiple skill trees for every single weapon. And then you also have your like common skill tree. Every weapon prioritizes the flow of the battle, or at least it seems that way. Remember, take this all with a grain of salt as somebody who doesn't have as much time in the game. So something like this with the greatsword, where if you press RB right after a perfect parry, then it'll immediately attack the enemy, and you can do that regardless of the flow of the enemy's attack, or the speed of their attack. So you could, if you got the rhythm right, at least you could parry, attack, parry, attack, parry, attack, and you wouldn't lose any speed, any momentum in like the battle itself. I don't have any heals, but I guess I'll go after this guy. You could see that I had most of my skills in my greatsword tree because that's what I've been using most of the time, but I'm just trying to give the spear a bit of a try right now. Obviously there's a stamina bar too, which is nice, so you can do a sort of visceral attack against an enemy once you drain it. It's not looking good, folks. Just kidding. This game's too easy. And then something that is very reminiscent of, you know, maybe God of War is that you can actually have different sets of armor. And when you have full sets of a certain type of armor, it'll provide different ability boosts. Like, you know, having 2 pieces of this, of the Soul Eater armor, will give you more stamina. And then later on, stamina recovery. And then you can learn certain attacks. So it's nice because you can sort of like build out the character based on what weapon you want to use and your play style and what skills you want to cultivate. As far as I know, these developers created a different game that I forget what it's called, but they established Kazan as a character, or like this world as a place, and now this is their foray into an action RPG. So I don't know, dude. It's pretty wild how a company can seem to understand the required mechanics for a game like this, having never made one before, and then they can drop something that feels as good as this game. Because I can't really overstate just how good this game feels. The speed of the combat, the speed of the enemy's attacks, and how it is very punishing if you don't get it right away. All that stuff is sort of sewn into the life of games like this. And because it's so vital for games like this, I feel like it's really easy for people to mess it up. A perfect example for me is a game like Mortal Shell, which I think nails it in terms of atmosphere, lore, design. Everything feels so good, but where it really falls short is the combat. And I think that there's a weightiness that isn't felt when you're hitting enemies. And there's again, flow's the really important word here. There's a flow that isn't as present in that game, and I think if it had that, it would be a contender for one of the great Souls-likes out there. See, this game is punishing, and I'm not even managing my stamina properly, so that's totally on me. So yesterday I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends, and we just went to one of their places. We hung out on the roof, and we were just talking, and I got to thinking to myself, which is, it's crazy that you have to think of these sort of things, but like, you know, nobody was on their phones, and we were just talking, like we were talking about things like current events. Obviously a lot going on in the world right now, especially the US. And yeah, it was just great conversation all around, and it was very productive too. It wasn't like weird, like an echo chamber, which I try to be like aware of a lot of the time. Obviously I still fall victim to it because I'm not perfect, but yeah, it's nice when you're able to like notice that. But anyway, we were talking, and it just got me thinking like how much I really value being able to just sit down and talk without any sort of weird distractions getting in our way. It seems like there are so many moments just in normal conversation these days that almost feel like a competition, like you have to win. And I know that could just be a product of who you're talking to and how they view conversation, especially on topics that are a little bit more close to heart. Yeah, it really does feel good to just be able to bounce ideas back and forth and not have to worry about getting attacked for maybe saying something that's... There's a cat right there. Maybe saying something that is a bit more, not inflammatory, that's not the right word, but something that is, I don't know, maybe provocative, or exploring ideas for the sake of ideas. I think that that's really important, because if we're just trapped in this spot where we never want to experience or hear anything new, then again, we fall into those echo chambers. And when talking to my friends, it got me thinking of something that I've been trying to focus on a lot at work, where, you know, working construction, I work with a lot of people that have views that are very different from mine. I work with a lot of people that are more on the right politically, and you know, I don't think that that is a bad thing, but it is something that is very different. And unfortunately, a lot of people on the right seem to hold ideas that are rooted in like hate or bigotry. I'm not saying everybody on the right is like that, but tends to be a pipeline that leads to those ideas. So I was thinking about that, and how when I'm talking to some people at work and they make offhand comments that are just horrible, I really have no shame in standing up and calling them out on that stuff. But sometimes you just have to, you still got to work with those people. You can do all you can to like try and navigate them or help them navigate through those things, you know, talk to them, right? Because the worst thing you could do is isolate them, because then they silo into these these echo chambers, and then they talk about all those things with people who share similar hateful views, and it's just not that good. I was thinking of something that came to me in my readings about Stoicism, and it's like, what does it mean to still love somebody, or still to show love to somebody even though, like, you know that they're in the wrong? Oh my god, I'm the best in the game. I'm so good. Some little mob up here is gonna one-shot me now. Does not open from this side, of course. Kind of along those same lines, when I'm talking to my friends, is that I noticed that I'm getting a lot better at checking myself and recognizing, like, oh, they have a really good point, and I can feel my ideas maybe changing about this certain subject. Like, how can I work with people? How can I truly consider their view on the subject? I do think that there are certain ideas that shouldn't even be entertained, and I won't even like say the name of those ideas because it's not even worth it's just an information hazard to merely mention them, because there's no reason. You know, if you follow a lot of online trends or a lot of online spaces, you might think that the world is becoming a horrible place. But if you take Marcus Aurelius' advice and you think to yourself, every day that I wake up, there will be people who are frustrating to me, who I'm going to grow tired of, and who will make me angry or make me annoyed, then you're like preparing yourself for the world that you're going to walk into, because nothing is ever going to be perfect. No social situation, no job situation. There's always going to be some form of conflict. So people might hear that Marcus Aurelius quote about being aware that the world is going to be full of people that will frustrate you every day, and they think, well, I should just ignore them. Like, those people suck. Like, they're not even something that is worth my time. But really what you should be getting from that is that that's a good reminder that you should prep yourself for dealing with people in a more patient and understanding way, and deal with people in a way where you need to forgive them, because not everybody is on this deep philosophical journey always thinking about their actions and thinking about the words that they use. I know that I fall short a lot of the time, and I get frustrated with people when they are being arrogant. They act in a way where I feel like they should know better, but it seems like they don't. Those moments can be really difficult because it seems like you're testing your patience on a level that you've never felt before. I'm a deep believer in the good of people, the good of humanity. Maybe so much so that it's to a fault, but I think that when we all approach the world in a little bit more positive way, then that means that we can make the biggest and best impact as possible. I feel like the world would be a much better place if we were all thinking a lot more about our impact on a day-to-day basis. And you know what? Yeah, I'll concede. I overthink a lot of this stuff. If my impact on the world is positive, but that happens to be a product of a little bit of overthinking on my part, then I'm totally cool with that. Whoa, what a tough puzzle. I gotta turn all these things towards the center. Oh my god. That seems like something that would be a boss arena. In manga news, I started reading The Climber, which seems to be another series that will go up there with Berserk, Vinland, and Vagabond for me. I've really been enjoying Vagabond, as you could tell from past videos, and I think about it all the time. Like, it occupies a very large amount of my mental space. There's just something so beautiful about reading a series that resonates with you so powerfully, and it's one of those things that I think a lot of people would benefit from when you really, really dive headfirst into a piece of media. I think that it can really change your life, really change your outlook. And it's just amazing to me that something like that, or that sort of experience, can, well, it can definitely make you view the world in a worse way, but like we've established, I don't really like to do that. All these series for me seem to offer me one more little piece of knowledge, little sliver of the life pie that helps me appreciate my own life, helps me cultivate better, more clear values, and helps me appreciate people and just the one life that I've been given. There is something about that that's hard to put into words. I'm working on putting it into writing, but I'm really glad that I can think about those things and go over them here in these videos, because I think that that is super important for the process of absorbing those ideas. Whether you come here for the games or you come here for the things that I have to say, however direct they might be, or however chaotic they might be in some of these videos, because I'm sort of bouncing all over the place, touching on a lot of different things. I really, really appreciate you, and I will never take this for granted that I have the free time to be able to even consider these things. So, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.